I don't think that. Ooh.
Okay, be careful what you say now because it's going to be it's being recorded. Um, no slanderous statements. Okay, this is the beginning of the recording section of the Northwest Mesh meeting on Zoom. It is 7:30 p.m. April the 14th, and their present is Jonathan, KK7PW, myself, John, KI7YRA, Tom, N7OEP, Mark, KD7RYY, Phil, K6HSV, Ken, AB7X, Rob, KB7GTC, Jim, WSJIM, Carl, Leon, N7KUW, and Dan Kamen, Dan KE7MTN. I didn't use phonetics because I can't do that very well. Uh, sorry. Okay. So as I said earlier, I'm standing in for Ron Zuber, who is the owner of the Zoom account, and he's on the road. So I'll be doing this as often as he's unable to participate. So what would like to do in terms of organization is to go to the key people who are, we don't have Randy, so it looks like Tom might be, might be the only one, but try to get an overview of where the Northwest Mesh is in terms of coverage and status of various nodes. So, and then we'll do a round robin and to do any wrap up that needs to be done. So, Tom, can you take the lead on that?
I can try. I'm not sure exactly what all has happened since the last meeting. I do know that the equipment at Beacon was changed out, but that might have been prior to the last meeting, so I'm not certain. And that certainly improved. Having the added filters over there certainly improved its connection with other nodes. And last Friday, Frank and I put up the standoff mount up at Providence Mount St. Vincent to move the antenna off of the tower leg itself, and it's about 2 feet away now. And that certainly improved its connection to other nodes. I can see it now here with my temporary node that shoots between my neighbors' houses, and so that's helped quite a bit. And we took down the W7AW-2 directional node that apparently Carl was the only one seeing. So, and I'm really surprised that he's actually seeing the Providence Mount St. Vincent node now. That's great. It means that the antenna is definitely working now that it's standing off at the side of the tower. We would have put it up on the top of the tower. We had permission to do that, but it was very, very windy on Friday. So it was all we could do just to get that side mount put on where the antenna was at. So another 20 feet of height, 25 feet of height would certainly give it better coverage. I don't know if there's been any movement forward with doing things with getting a ham WAN connection over there. I know Randy's been working on the planning for that. We did do some research, and there is an unused non-penetrating mount that we could put a ham WAN dish on with a clear line of sight over to Beacon, no problem there. Getting a cable running into the equipment room. That mount has an existing conduit run to it that's been abandoned, and it's got a Cat5 cable already in it with a couple of other cables that we won't need. So we would just need to put a new connector on it and connect it up. So that would be a very, very easy install. We have permission to, do multiple things there at Mount St. Vincent. So that's awesome. We also discovered there's 3 abandoned cell phone non-penetrating roof mounts that they had. 2 of them were over on the southeast corner of the building, and the other one's on the north corner up there. And we have permission to disassemble those, repurpose them, whatever we want to do. So that's awesome. We might use those to put up some other antennas, maybe a VARA node, WinLink type thing, some other things like that. So some exciting opportunities there. And as far as the link getting over to Vashon, I think that tower, we can clearly see a water tank near the north end of the island. So I think that we have an easy shot there, either with mesh equipment itself or with a point-to-point link on one of the higher bands. there was some mention, I think a 60 gigahertz link that might be a possibility. Randy's looking into that. So if he joins us tonight, maybe he can give us an update on what he's found out there. But I think that'd be awesome. Give us a direct backbone link between West Seattle and Vashon Island. And then from there, work our way south down the island, hopping from high points to buildings to rooftops to whatever we need to do to get better coverage for a connection over there as well. And I think that's about all I have.
Okay, Tom, what I will do is I'll pull up the GMAP. The Arden Mesh Map doesn't give enough coverage, but the GMAP I think has everything on it. Can you, I'll bring it up and then you can try to point out the things that you were discussing. Is that
Sure.
okay? Sure.
Sure.
Let me do that. I'll screen share. Okay, I did post that on this link on in the chat. I reposted it, so you can find it in the chat. Okay, so I know you talked about the beacon, right?
Yeah, Beacon Tower,
Which is
which
here.
I think you have it there on the map.
Okay.
And then Providence Mount St. Vincent is the rooftop where I was just discussing, which is in the middle of that. So you can zoom in, you might be able
Yeah. Which one is it?
to keep zooming.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right there in the middle, W7AW-MSV. So it's just down from there.
Oh, here.
That one right there, yeah.
Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm trying to add additional information off of the Arden Mesh Map because I'll pull that one up too. The Arden Mesh Map has more detail or different details, I should say, but it's still very useful because it tells you about things like the MAC address and things like that. But so for those of you who are not familiar with this GMAP, for all of the nodes that we know about that are able to reach us, we apply them to the GMAP. And then hopefully at some point they will appear on the Arden Mesh Map so that as that Arden Mesh Map gets populated, it will become more and more useful. So here's Carl up here. I don't know if there's anyone else in that up in that section.
I think Doug Kingston in Ballard
Doug Kingston and Ballard.
has, I know he has Arden. I don't know if he's, I'm pretty sure he's tunneled in the same places that most of us are through the nodes Randy set up for tunneling, but he's not on your map yet. But
Yeah, I don't have his details. Do you know how I could reach him?
yeah, I'll dpk@randomnotes.org.
Just a second. DPK.
Delta Papa Kilo @randomnotes.org.
Notes.
And he's KD7DK is his call.
KD7.
Delta Kilo.
Say it in alphabet. KD7.
Kilo Delta 7 Delta Kilo.
Okay. KD. Yeah, okay, he did it reversal. Okay, and then I'll pull up the Arden Mesh Map. So for those who trying to get people familiar with this web page, so you can use it for your own purpose. So up here is the Arden Mesh Map links. So I can pull up Puget Sound. Hopefully, I'm never sure what will come up. So it takes a while for it to populate the locations. There you go. So you can zoom in, but the Seattle map goes right to Seattle, so you don't have to do these. It's really sluggish, so a little cumbersome to use. So there we go. And then
So I think Doug's on that map.
yeah. So what I'm trying to do is pull the damn. It overshoots like crazy. I got to get my finger off the wheel, the mouse wheel, because it really takes time for it to go. But let's see if I can do it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to try to show people how you can use the Arden Mesh Map. it doesn't show the connections like I think some do. Some maps show it. I don't know how that's done, but so for example, here's the I think that's Beacon. Let's see.
I see Doug there on the map.
Yeah, so there's Beacon, and so this is the kind of information you get off of the Arden Mesh Map. It gives you information. So I'll probably over time try to copy this information over to the GMap. So in case it's available. Okay. So I'll get rid of that. And let's see. There's the West Seattle. So the West Seattle zooms in a little faster than the other ones. So here we go. So these are the folks that have, I know that Jonathan asked about it at the last meeting, is how do you get on the Arden Mesh Map? And I think he figured it out. So I'll if I can provide more info, I can show you where to get that information. So even though I'm on the map, no, I'm not on this map. On the G map, I'm tunneling, so I don't really count for much because I'm in a hole. So that's that. So this is in the chat. I put this in the chat. You can't go to, for those of you who are new to this operation, we do have a domain name reserved, northwestmesh.org, but it actually goes to a page that I threw up as a subdomain here. So there's a lot of information here too, and so here, right here, I have a link to how to join Arden Map. So this tells you you have to set up, you have to have a user account, but once you're in there, presumably it will, and it can find you. It will add you to the map that we were looking at. And here, these are the organizations that we're trying to get involved. I tried to get PSRG to attend here, but I guess they didn't get the word. And the Seattle ACS, I've got to figure out how to reach out better to those folks.
Well, I'm here.
Okay, you count, Carla. Oh, Carla, when you see me send out an invitation, can you cross post it with the ACS group?
Yeah, you want it to go to the entire group?
Well, I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of them have interest. Not a lot of them have nodes.
You don't have a subgroup that would be more focused?
Not specific to Arden, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess you'd have to send it to everybody. Who knows? Who knows who's interested? Okay.
I had a question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Are you do you show any active nodes from Whatcom County? I know we have a few people. Bud Churchward is very active. WB7 FHC, and my node was registered last year, but I haven't had it online for a while. It's over in Birch Bay.
You want me to push the Arden map over there to see if it's there?
If you don't mind, just for a moment, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Like I said, it's been a while. Buds is usually active, and we have a few people, others in Bellingham as well.
I think I saw a couple up here. Yeah. Is this the area you're interested in?
Keep going north.
More north.
Bellingham, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bellingham. I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you were talking about the Olympic. Okay.
Yeah, if you zoom in over, right in the center of the map there, and maybe zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it looks like Buds is up there, and actually my old node is just a little bit southeast of his, but it's not active. Hasn't been for a while.
Yeah,
but,
some maps actually show the connections that are being made, but this map isn't the one that does it, apparently. I've seen others that do.
So
I'm not sure how you find
okay,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, there's another one down in Yakima too. There's another cluster of these Arden Mesh nodes down in Yakima.
Well, see the I-5 label. Buds is southwest of that, and it should be active. I think he might even have a camera attached to that as well. But
I'm not sure what we
still,
can see with this map.
oh, not never mind. Not don't worry about it. I was just wondering. I know that's not. Oh, go ahead.
Do you see the person you're looking for?
Yes. See where it says I-5 in the pinkish box up north?
With your mouse right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Southwest
Go to
of
your
that.
7 o'clock.
Right
Here?
there. That should be Bud's, and mine should be right next to or right below his. But okay, yeah, that was mine.
So
I didn't really have much luck with that GLINet. I had a lot of issues with it. I have that sitting right here next to me, but I'm in Arizona, so I'm not very not good for the network right now. But
A little out of range.
so
just a bit.
so where can you connect? Who do you connect to?
I'm well, I believe I connected with Ferndale. I think there was a node there that I was able to connect to. My location is kind of really bad. I could connect into Canada over in Richmond. There's a few things, nodes that I could connect to, but yeah, my location isn't great for that. I'm putting up a tower when I get back into Washington here in about 3 weeks. But yeah, I was just curious if you have much, or if you've been in communications with anybody in Whatcom County
We could
recently.
well, I think the only way we get there is through tunneling, and I think Randy Neals has a tunnel up to Whatcom County.
Yeah, a comment on that.
Sure.
Randy changed all the tunneling over to a node that's at the CLEOC. And I'm just looking at the mesh map that shows all those tunnels. And it doesn't currently have the tunnel up to Whatcom County. So he may not have yet
Okay.
re-achieved that tunnel. I don't know that he necessarily dropped it intentionally. It just that he took them out of the node he had at his house and moved them over to the node at the CLEOC. And it doesn't, I don't currently see a tunnel from that server up to Whatcom County. So it,
Okay.
it'll probably come back and ping Randy if he, to answer specifically if it will or not, I don't know.
So,
Yeah, because I know there was a talk before the COVID thing came up a couple of years ago that they wanted to bridge, Seattle all the way up to, Vancouver, Canada and beyond. But I don't know how far that went. And I know everything got put on hold for a while because there was, was it MeshNet or what's the other one? There's Arden and I think there was a couple other Yeah, Hamwan, thank you. And yeah, there's other technologies that were also being looked at to integrate everything and try to get everybody to be able to talk to each other if the internet went down and whatnot. But
right, we've been kind of using Hamwan as a backhaul between the little clusters. If they don't have a direct connection, that we can go through the Hamwan as a backbone instead of the internet.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the EOC does have Hamwan connectivity also, so.
Yeah, on my tower, I was actually wondering, is the rocket ubiquity rocket, was it XM? Is that any good?
What I'm using? I have a rocket M2.
M2?
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
So I've got a rocket
And
M2 and I've got the TP link, and I had the rocket. I had a connection to West Seattle with the TP link. I took it down, put the rocket up, could not get anything. Took the rocket back down, put the TP link back up, and regained that connection. So in my personal experience, the TP link does better than the rocket.
Guys, the rocket does not have enough memory in it to support the latest release of Arden software.
Whoa,
Oh,
you're kidding.
Nope, dead
so
serious.
TP link is probably recommended for my new setup, right?
Are you sure about that? Because the last time I looked on the Arden grid, the rocket M2 was still highly supported with
The
plenty
Rocket
of memory.
M2 is on their website. I grant you that. But if you look at it carefully, it's got some light print on it. And if you read the notes, it turns out there's not enough memory in there to support the latest release.
Phil, I want to
That's
make sure,
not true.
Phil, I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying the Rocket M2 does not have sufficient memory for the upgraded Arden software.
Correct.
And does the TP link have sufficient memory?
As far as I know, yes, I'd have to check the website to be certain.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I think they were a different color green, and I think the darker green was the one that supported fully. And last I looked, it was the correct color. And I do know that they've come out with a new build that hasn't been released generally yet. That one of our members, Steve, has played with. That removed a lot of I think the Perl scripts, and significantly shrunk the size of the memory required. And I was going to try that on one of my bullets because they have less memory, and see if that works.
Yeah, that's exactly. I've got an M2 bullet here that I used in Reading, and I cannot use it. It won't support the current software.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the hardware list here.
Yeah.
So which one are we trying to?
Scroll down
See the bullet?
to the we see the bullet, but we're also looking for the rocket.
Oh, the Rocket. Yeah, I think the Rocket's okay.
I see the rockets have the dark green, so
Yeah,
they're supported.
The
and that's what
bullet
we're
is
just-
what's not.
It's the bullet that's not correct. Yeah.
And that's where I got stung.
Okay. Yeah. See, the rocket is fully supported, so
Yep.
Which one is the Rocket?
it's down a little bit further, down near the bottom of your list there. The Rocket XM and the Rocket
okay.
XW and the Rocket Titaniums.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're dark green.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that change the discussion that we were having? That
Yes. Yeah, I think he was referring to the bullet, not the rocket, when we were
Okay.
Yes, that's
first
correct.
talking about.
okay, the bullet is the issue, and
Yeah.
so the TP link, we presume. Now, can anyone address the software changes to the Arden software? Can anyone fill us in on what that was about?
I wish Steve was here because I know that he tried downloading one of those nightly builds that was significantly smaller because I think it was Perl scripts that they had removed that weren't required anymore, and significantly made the size of I would call it the code plug or the firmware, so that would probably fit on a Bullet M2 a lot easier.
Yeah, I would be interested in that.
Yeah, me too. I just haven't had time to try it yet. But I've got 3 or 4 bullets and a titanium bullet that I'd really like to get back. It's my main node is a bullet, and it still runs, but you know I can't keep my computer connected to it and have it keep updating. You know, the auto scan.
Yeah, right.
As long as I don't have it do anything, it's just on. It functions and it passes traffic back and forth and whatnot. But I can't look at it, and I can't like open my. Well, now I've got Mesh Chat on there. I've got a video camera on there, and I've also got a IP phone on there. So all 3 of those things are probably taxing its memory as well. But I think if I run it just plain, it might give me a screen that I could dynamically update. But with all the other stuff loaded in there right now,
So Tom, if you can't
it's
upgrade,
overtaxed.
so if you can't upgrade, will at some point it become non-functional?
Yes.
Possibly depends on if the size of the flash gets any larger, it won't physically fit. But as if I don't upgrade it and everything stays backwards compatible,
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
It'll still function as a relay point for other people,
Okay, so
but I
that
won't
was
be able to
really-
use it to access and look online at things on the node.
Okay.
Do you mind if I ask, what are the TP-Link model numbers that work with this
CPE 210, is that it?
CPE 210?
Yeah, can you bring up the matrix again and
Yeah,
show
I'll
them
pull
the
that
list?
up again.
And those were relatively inexpensive not too long ago, but I think the price has gone up considerably recently.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, everything is under pressure now.
They were like $40 from
Yeah,
Amazon.
they cut the price in half for a while.
Yeah. So if you scroll down, I think it was down. No, it's right there in the middle of the screen. There's your
So
TP
all
links
those
right there.
ones down below are TP-Link brands.
So
Okay.
the CPE V2 is what has been readily available on Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's-
And they're all a model CPE 210.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that the club, the West Seattle Amateur Radio Club, or W78W, has been buying that particular unit most recently. It's helpful if you're working in a group of people buying these things, because if you can all agree on one make and model, you can support each other more easily than if you have different makes and models.
Well, I think the main thing is because they were cheap.
Well,
The,
yeah, but I mean, it turned out that it was helpful to
Yeah,
be able to support each other.
the TP Link is still on sale for $39.99 on Amazon.
wow.
Cool.
I'll have to buy another one just to have
Yeah, buy one now while
at,
they're
at,
available.
at that price, you know.
I should
That's
probably
cheaper than a tank of gas.
Actually, there's two. I'm not sure the difference. One is $39.99, and then a different one offers WISP modes, and it's renewed for $34.99. So I think the one that you want is the first one. It looks like it's new at $39.99, and it's the one that I know I've bought a few of them, and they all work. And
Is that
Tom keeps one or two in his go bag.
And just be aware they're a directional antenna, so they're not omni.
Right.
so?
That gives them a teeny bit more gain.
So what Tom? Can you talk about the how things are going to get better? What's going to make things better than they are?
More nodes, closer together, fill the gaps.
So we've got the so-called backbone,
Yeah.
where it should be. Or
Yeah,
do we need more?
we're using tunnels and ham went to link clusters together because we don't have a direct RF link. I think if we have enough nodes to fill in all those gaps, we can do away with a lot of the tunneling. And I know the nice thing about mesh is if you can't get through one node, if you can see more than one, chances are you can get to the other end through somebody else's node.
Okay.
If you have a single link, like a tunnel, the tunnel goes down, you're isolated, and everybody who sees you and gets to everybody else through your tunnel is also isolated. So
Yeah.
the idea is to get multiple people that can see each other,
Yeah.
and that truly becomes a mesh at that point.
Yeah. We need a critical mass. John has his hand up. What would you like to ask, John?
Well, sort of to that point, I had sent an email out, I guess the middle of last month, about looking for an elevator pitch. That if we could put together an elevator pitch for like why you should host a mesh node, because I was looking at the like the map of just in West Seattle, the map of hams, licensed hams, and there's a lot of people that we don't interact with in the West Seattle Amateur Radio Club that are, I mean, if you look, there's a lot of people just up and down California. And my notion was that we put together a little elevator pitch, hey, we're the West Seattle Amateur Radio Club. We're putting this mesh together. Why somebody might care, why they might, why it's a good idea, and just snail mail it to the home address of these hams that are in locations that would fill holes in our network, and see if we can get any of them to bite. So
How long should that pitch be?
well, I don't know, just maybe a paragraph or something, maybe with some links to external, if somebody was interested, some external your resources they could dig in deeper, or just even the club's email address, and hey, just email us for more information. But just something to sort of say, why it's a good idea, why it's something pretty painless. Slap one of these, just tell them the CP link is $40. Just slap it on the side of your house, and help us build out our network.
John, why don't you put up something as a starter on the group, on the Google group, and then we'll put it up somewhere where or if you send it to me, I'll put it up somewhere and send links to everybody on the Mesh group, and we can hack at it until it looks like it's usable, and then off of that we can maybe link to a web page or something where they can dig deeper into the subject. It'd
Yeah,
be
that's,
interesting to see what kinds of questions people ask when they get such an offer to say, well, this sounds like it's really great, but what about yacht XYZ?
well, I think the thing, part of the problem is we haven't really, I mean, to some extent, our initial attempts at building out a network is kind of a solution looking for a problem, right? I mean, we really haven't identified what, what our vision is for this thing and why we're going to do it.
Why do we need this?
And
Other
especially,
other than the pain and suffering, why do we need this?
right, yeah.
Carl?
And I think too, if the, if it's intended as providing some communication, some network communication throughout the area after the big one hits or something, and traditional methods are down. We've done zero on hardening this, right? And I'm sure that there's maybe what 5% of the nodes we've got slapped up have any provisions for operating off the grid. So I mean, I think just like I said, to some extent, it sort of starts with what's our vision for this thing, and trying to get other people interested in it, and just like I said, I mean, looking at the map, there's oodles of people in places that that's a mesh desert in West Seattle currently, and would love to see if we could cajole some of those people to hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah, what if you would, John, get something started, and then I'll promote it to the mesh and kind of try to get some feedback. Carl, what's on your mind?
Well, I think that's a great idea, John. Thank you. I was going to suggest a twist to that, some additional possible ideas. Carefully select hams that are at key locations that can give you the best bang for the buck. And I'm also a brand new member of the West Seattle Amateur Radio Club, even though I'm a West Seattle native. So I'm kind of not in the position to speak of how you should use your treasury, but an Arden node is not very expensive. Find the key locations where it's going to get you the best bang for the buck, and tell them, hey, we're not going to make you join our club. You can if you want to, and we're not going to make you pay for anything. We'll provide you this node if you will host it at your house, and you invest 50 or $100 per each of these key locations and grow your mesh magically.
So how much per node would we be looking at?
Well, if you buy those TP links, they're $40 a pop, and if you want to really make it fancy, you get them a 7 amp hour battery for $20 or $30, and a small 12 volt power supply, just a wall wart size would work, and for another 10 or $15. So you're going to invest under $100 to give them a Arden node with battery backup that would last a number of hours, not indefinitely, of course. And then if you really get some prime location, throw a few more bucks at it and add a solar panel.
Yeah, and then Tom will go over and install it.
Thanks, John.
Just an idea to grow on John's suggestion, which I thought was a great idea. And if it's beyond the scope of what West Seattle Club wants to do, but as far as Northwest Mesh as an idea, explore that. There's over 3,000 licensed amateur radio operators in the city of Seattle. And there's, a couple of hundred belong to this club and 150 belong to that club. And, we're grossly underrepresented as to the number of actual hams. Maybe this is an opportunity to leverage a few of them. I don't know, pick the right, again, do your research, find out who's on the high spots, find out who's got line of sight opportunities, etc., and maybe approach them.
Sounds like a plan, or a sort of a plan for a plan. Yeah, I like it. Anyone else have a comment on this subject?
Sure. Here on Vashon Island, it seems like you had me at the big one, because we have a pretty developed emergency services group called Vashon Be Prepared that's really concerned about the big one, whatever it is, if it's a earthquake or, you know, Russian EMP or whatever it is. We've been doing work on that kind of stuff for a long time. And for myself, I work with a local, I'm a minor part of the local ham club, and I'm also a key person at a local nonprofit radio station called Voice of Vashon. And we actually have a number of antennas up on top of water tanks, including the one on the north end of Vashon that was mentioned earlier. And we also have one on the top of the biggest water tank. There's a 1 million gallon water tank on in the middle of the island that can see West Seattle. I'm one of the people that climbs up on top of that tank to put up Wi-Fi antennas, and we can see West Seattle from up there. So I'm pretty sure that would actually be a great location. Plus, it already has a generator backup because the water district itself needs to have emergency backup. So we have plenty of backup, and that's how our radio station, that's where our transmitter is up on top of this 1 million gallon tank. So it'd actually be a good location for one of these mesh radios.
Sounds good.
So anybody that has an idea for what we should do to keep going with that. And I have good connections with the people that are connected with the emergency preparedness people as well. And they're very interested in, we have a whole ham radio operation that's part of our own local EOC.
So Dan, is Mesh brand new to the folks that you're talking about, or is it
Yes,
something that
I
needs to be
believe so.
explained?
Although they were the ones that put it out on our local ham radio reflector that said, you know, join this meeting, and that's why I came here tonight.
Okay. Yeah, that's keeping. One before we get to toward the end, I'd like to make sure everyone who hasn't received a direct invitation to this, that they put their name and email in the chat, and I will make sure that you get a direct invitation, because I know a lot of you are getting your invitations secondhand. So I'd like to keep to make sure that everyone has ongoing interest get a direct invitation, so you don't have to worry about missing the invitation. So if you do that, that would facilitate. Anything else that of general interest to the group regarding mesh? Okay. So I'll work with John on putting together a, what do you call it, an elevator pitch, and we'll try to float the idea of a plan to pull in key locations. That sounds like something Randy would be good at doing. He seems to know where all the highs and low points are. And we'll do, if there's nothing more for general discussion, I'll do a round robin with, and I'll start with Jonathan. What's your situation?
My situation, had a very good dinner. Oh, okay. Well, I think you want to know about technology, but I can tell you what after dinner. As far as I know, I remain connected, and I am hosting one of Randy's tunneling routers, which allows me to get beyond my Game of Thrones bluff. You know, I often say winter is coming when I look to the east. But in any event, that router seems to be working fine, and I can see everyone. I still have some RF connections with fellows to the north, and I think that's all I got for you at the moment.
Okay. I'll report myself, which is I've been using a tunnel, and right now it's offline, so I'm not of much use to anyone at this point. Mark, did you have anything you wanted to report?
No, not really. I after the last Zoom session, I went and acquired a Hap Light Microtech, thinking that I could start some tunneling with that, but haven't gotten around to looking for my round to it. You know how to have to have one of those before you can do something that that's not a high priority.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, Mark, thank you.
So anyway, yeah, eventually there'll be one of those here and also in the Ocean Park area, and we'll just wait and see if anybody can connect.
Okay, so you're still the only person active in your area?
Oh no, Phil is.
Oh, Phil is, okay.
We have about 4 or 5 miles between us, but the terrain and the flora, fauna, and structures are kind of preventing any kind of a link between us.
Okay. Okay, Phil, did you want to expand on that?
Yeah, basically, we just moved up here about 2 years ago, so we're still getting all the boxes sorted out. And I do have equipment. It will be up and on the air at some point. And I think I can easily connect to Mark from what I know of the terrain, and I've done the Google studies to look at the paths and all of this. What my concern is I belonged to a very active group in Redding, California, and the group has died from no interest. So keeping an interest among hams is critical. And there seems to be a reluctance to get involved in anything above about 440 megahertz. So I want to see an effort to push this. And I think the concept of linking groups is great. And you may start it out with tunneling and, you know, try to get that up to an actual RF link, which I like. But there are numerous groups that are throughout the country and isolated from one another.
Yeah. Understood.
Is it a question? Is it at all possible to do an HF link over long distances and no transverter option?
No
You run
bandwidth.
into bandwidth limitations due to the FCC requirements to make HF problematic for that and other reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, even with sophisticated coding schemes, you can't get the bandwidth high enough to make HF very viable.
Okay, anything else, Phil?
No.
That's it. Ken, do you have anything to report? Are you able to do better connections now that we have filters?
Been waiting to take a look and see if I could see the beacon better now. Unfortunately, it's kind of cold out there, so I haven't done that. That plus my project with the Pacific Northwest Railroad Archive, where I've been scanning over 100-year-old timetables and things. That's been keeping me pretty busy.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun, but that's another story. I do have 2 TP links up and running. I've also got one of Randy's routers that I installed, but I am not sure. It seemed to me that I was losing signal strength on everything when that router was implemented. I was going to do an experiment and disconnect it and see what happens. But I know with Tom's situation, I used to have a good, strong link with him. And now that he's changed his configuration, I don't have that anymore. And the other thing I'm kind of concerned about is we had another node not too far from Mount St. Vincent at a place called Brookdale, which was on 35th and Alaska, a little bit north of the Mount St. Vincent. That was my strongest signal, and it looks like it's disappeared. So I'm guessing there's been some kind of a physical issue with it, maybe during some of the high winds we've been having in the last week or so. And I know that knocked it off the air before. And with Ron's absence, he's the one that had been kind of keeping an eye on that one. So lots of weird stuff going on, but we're plodding on, and I'm kind of at the mercy of you guys who are technically more oriented than I am, doing things like WinLink and such. So I'm an interested observer in that regard. So there it is from AB7X.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Rob, did you have anything you wanted to contribute to the to the to the discussion?
Nothing at the moment. Just wanted to sit in and see what's going on down south now that things are kind of rolling again, right? Because I'm sure the last couple of years, not a whole lot's been active, has it? Or actively developed? Or am I wrong with that assumption?
Well, we've been at it for
Um,
less than a year, I think, in terms of
oh,
pushing
okay.
that. Yeah, yeah. We won't don't want to lose our momentum. That's the key right now. Is we had some momentum and people are getting isolated. That is, some locations are not able to participate very well, and so we've got to figure out how to make it better for people. And as Tom
Okay.
said, we need more notes to make that
Oh,
easy.
absolutely.
Okay. Uh,
And hopefully, yeah, we do have, yeah, I apologize that I'm the only one from Mount Baker Amateur Radio Club. We also have some members in WACG, which is Whatcom Emergency Communications Group, and they had our monthly meeting at the same time as this meeting. So it's probably
okay.
why nobody else from our groups showed up.
So if, Rob, if you put any links in the chat that would help spread the word, I'll try to use those. Um, okay, Jim, do you have anything you'd like to say? Are you part of the mesh now?
No, I'm just looking at the terrain here. I'm in such a hole that I can't see more than about 5 houses away. So I'm down in North Shorewood. So if anything, I got a chance of maybe seeing Maury Island if I got up high enough, but that's about it. So I'm not participating in the mesh at this point till we get some more down this neck of the woods.
Have you tried to set up a tunnel yet?
No, I have not set up a tunnel. I've just switched over to a new internet service that is mobile. So when I go places, it goes with me. So
Okay.
You have a transportable tunnel.
I have a transportable tunnel. Yeah, which is a possibility, I suppose. But we took it on vacation with us and it worked amazing. But so got some things to try and figure out there. I'd be happy to go up as high as I could to try and pick up something off of Maury Island if there's anything down there. But that's about the closest shot I have of getting anything out. Of course, my concerns are always rooted in what we can do for the parade down the road. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you got your hands full. But hopefully you'll get plugged in at some point.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Carl,
that's where my experimentation has been going with the point with the field phones and such right now, so I can learn what's going on there. And that part of it's exciting, keep me interested.
okay. Thank you. Carl, did you want to wrap up your involvement?
Hi. Well, I'm a brand new member of West Seattle Amateur Radio Club, 2 or 3 months, but I'm a West Seattle native, so I miss it. And I'm very active with Seattle ACS, have been for quite a few years. Emergency communications, whether it's amateur radio or something else or a mix thereof, is kind of my focus, my interest, and what I work with and try to improve. And ACS is part of that. I see Arden as an ideal way to extend connectivity, if you have it someplace, to the immediately surrounding neighborhoods. And something like HamWAN is a backbone to reach it farther places, assuming it survives. HamWAN is great, but all the backbone is on towers and is microwaves. So earthquakes may have a tendency to mess that up. Who knows? A great potential I see coming in the near future is Starlink. Jim, is that what you were referring to with your mobile internet?
No, actually, I'm T-Mobile 5G.
Okay.
So it's just another phone number is all it is.
Yeah, but it's still LTE. So, assuming LTE cellular dies in this area in a disaster, what communications capabilities are we going to have out of the area? Well, HF WinLink is probably going to be one of our most powerful tools. But as Starlink becomes more available, that's a very powerful tool too. I could take a Starlink terminal and plug it into an Arden Mesh and extend that usability throughout my neighborhood, throughout a couple of neighborhoods, and people could stand there and text and email. We've solved the out of area communications needs for that part of your community. So that's where I see Arden as being an incredibly powerful tool, and anything that can extend that capability throughout broader and broader areas. So that's my interest. That's what I'm working on. I've got several grab and go Arden kits, and each one of them has an IP phone with it. And I've got a PBX sitting here in my house that they all tie to, as well as a VoIP service I subscribe to which is based on a server in Chicago, which should not be damaged by a local earthquake. So if I can get connectivity out of this area, I can do VoIP telephony wherever I set one of those IP phones.
So do you see a way to connect Starlink with Arden Mesh?
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be interesting to know more about.
I think Randy's playing with that too. I'm pretty sure.
Randy's doing it. I've got a Starlink node here. I just put up, and it's just IP. It's like having an ISP. Okay, your Starlink dish is just like having an ISP. So you've got your Comcast modem or your CenturyLink modem or whatever that you're getting an IP connectivity with. Starlink's the same thing. You just plug your computer or your Arden node or your your local switch and router or whatever into it. Boom, you've got internet. And you can then extend it through Arden, just like that.
Great. That sounds really interesting.
And we tested also a Starlink dish on the roof of the CLEOC. It had good connectivity there. They're planning to order one whenever they can make arrangements to do so. They're most interested. So
I would, on a sidebar, ACS has VARA at South Community College,
South
we
Seattle
have-
College.
South
Yeah.
College.
is that? I'm not sure if that node's still there. It might be.
Yeah, I've been looking for ways to reach VARA, and I haven't found anything that.
Well,
that's
there's VARA on Beacon Hill. There's VARA on Capitol Hill. There's VARA at my house. There's VARA. We've got 7 or 8 nodes. I don't know them off the top of my
Magnolia, I believe Magnolia too.
Magnolia.
I know they used to have a node there,
Yeah,
at least WinLink.
yeah, they do. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a VARA node at Magnolia.
I think
I can get you a list of all of our nodes.
Yeah. Yeah, would you, I'll send you an email, Carl, and you can give me your list, and I'll see if I can connect with one of those.
Sure, and most of them are UHF 440, but at least one of them's VHF. Doug Kingston's got one up at his house on VHF.
Yeah, I have a UHF Yagi, and that would be probably my best
Okay.
way to connect. Okay.
There's
Yeah,
a
you should
VARA-
be able
there's
to
a
hit.
VARA- Sorry, there's a VARA link on Vashon Island as well.
Yeah, John, you should be able to hit Beacon.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dan, I'm in a bad location for Vashon. Okay, well, that's it for Carl.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. And Dan, did you want to sum your situation or tell us anything interesting about your environment?
Sure. As I said, I've tested VARA link and WinLink here on Vashon Island. I think it was 440, but I'm not positive. But the other thing I was talking about was this way to extend mesh networking out to people that aren't licensed. This little gizmo I was mentioning called a Meshtastic is this guy right here. It's a little bitty radio, totally battery operated. It has an 18650 battery on it, and it's got a little display. I don't know if that can come into focus or not, but you can do like short text messages on it. It uses something called low raw WAN, and it is very long distance, but very slow, very low bandwidth. But it's useful for sending short messages, and I can see idea of hooking this up to lots of other networks. Like you could have a relay between this kind of a gizmo and WinLink or any other, you know, any other network. So I think that'd be real useful for emergency capability.
You said it has long distance. How far can it reach tactically?
I have not tested it. Apparently it'll go 100 kilometers with the right antenna. So, and like I said, it's also, it's low power and low bandwidth. So it's like for short text messages.
Mhm.
And for example, I tested it one time by, I had two of them. It came in I printed a little 3D case for the thing, and I took it with me on a walk down to a local beach, which was over a mile away, and sent a message from down there on the beach back to my home. And when I got home, and then I turned it off to make sure it wasn't sending on the way. And when I got home, the message was there that I'd sent from over a mile away and down the hill and over terrain and through trees and all that. And it did manage to make the connection. So I'm pretty sure it's not just line of sight, and it's a pretty interesting little device.
What frequency does it use?
915 megahertz.
915?
Yeah. So it's
is
which
it
means
it's a part 15 device?
yeah, I believe so. But unlicensed part 15, you know, like you know, FRS radio type thing.
That's cool.
All right,
But,
so that might be compatible then with the Ubiquiti M900s.
It might be. I have not tested it with that. I don't. We use a lot of Ubiquiti stuff here, mostly 5 gigahertz. We have a whole bunch of Ubiquiti radios, and after I got used to using them in the local radio station, I populated my house with a whole bunch more. So, and I have a few in the garage right now. So I have lots of Ubiquiti stuff, just not the 900 megahertz stuff.
So where is that's a kit device? You said you soldered it together. Where do you acquire the kit?
In this case, it wasn't really a kit. I 3D printed a case for it is all I did, and added a battery to it. But it's a thing you can get. It's manufactured. It actually has GPS. That's the other thing that's really interesting about this. So it has GPS built into it, and like all the other ESP32 things, it has Wi-Fi radio built into it as well. But I got it from AliExpress. So it's, you know, a Chinese special that takes a couple of weeks to get from China. And it's a TT Go Mesh Tastic is what the thing's called. And they're
TT Go Mesh Tastic?
Yeah, TT Go Mesh Tastic. And like I said, it has a built-in display, so you can hook up to it with your cell phone and type in a message to it that connects to this thing, automatically relays it to any number of these little gizmos. So they're fairly fascinating, I think, and would be good for like a neighborhood. It seems to me like, so, you know, the big one hits, people are trapped under their beams and when their roof falls down, and you can send a message from your house that says, "Come help." That kind of thing. Even if your cell phones are down and everything, this thing will work. Presumably that it's not it's not an EMP that takes out everything electronic. Anyway, that's what I have.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Sure.
Tom,
John, I need to step away. I have another meeting that I need to get
Sure.
to, so I'll just back out. But good to see everybody, and thank you very much.
Okay, before you go, Jonathan, I just want to say I'll send out as much information as I can from this meeting to everyone who leaves their email, and I have your email.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. 7-3, everyone.
See you, Jonathan.
Tom, did you have anything that you wanted to add on?
No, I think I pretty much covered everything earlier.
Okay. And John, N7JWW, did you have any thing you wanted to add on?
Nothing to report here. I just have my same two TP links, one facing north, one facing south, and just, I guess the one thing that I'm kind of next on my to-do list is I've been running whatever that production version of the firmware that I guess or that was there when we first started doing this, however long ago, and I've been trying to work up the opportunity to update the firmware to the new version, like what Tom was saying, the one that's got a smaller kernel and stuff, and theoretically, faster, more efficient. So that's my next issue. And I guess, and also too, I just, would be interested, mine are just plugged into the wall socket. And so want to think about making them a little, figuring out how to make them a little more resilient without, going totally nuts. So
Okay,
that's it from here.
okie dokie.
I
Okay,
do have another question for the group.
sure.
If next time I climb up on top of the water tank, I could presumably take up a radio with me at one of these TP link radios up to the top. And I believe we have, Ethernet, extra Ethernet, because we've replaced a lot of our wires fairly recently. So we have some spare Ethernet cables that, the one thing we see is that when we get up on top of that water tank, we find that birds have been attacking the wires up there, and which is interesting. They've eaten through Ethernet cables that we had running up to. We used to have a bunch of Ubiquity NSM5s up there, and birds actually ate through the Ethernet cable, presumably because they're soy based. And at any rate, I think we have a couple of other Ethernet cables up there. What would I need to do to put one of these Ethernet, one of the TP links in place? I assume it has to be Ethernet. Is that right?
Yeah, it's power over Ethernet.
Yeah,
Right.
can you do power over Ethernet on your cable?
Yeah, that's how we power all the radios up there.
How
And
about
usually we have
5,000 volts?
That'll take care of the birds.
Yeah. We usually have the cables run down, it's probably 150 feet down to we have our transmitter building down there. That's the one that's it's generator backed up. And we have the POEs down there in that building. So presumably up on the top, we could just hook in one of these radios up to to somewhere up on top of the radio tank, and it would be able to hook up to West Seattle. Is that right?
You have to upload the Arden firmware into the device first. Then you have to configure it.
Right.
You could probably do all that. I don't know if you're savvy with that kind of stuff, and it sounds like you are. Probably do it in 30 minutes or less.
Sure.
And then aim it at one of the existing nodes, and see if you can get a connection. Connect with a laptop and open a browser and connect to the node through the browser. There's instructions on how to do it on the website.
Okay.
And
I'll look
see
that over.
who you can see.
Okay.
So
There's actually a tool in there for aiming it, but it's hard to run the tool from your laptop down in the transmitter building if you're up on the top of the water tank. So that would take two people.
Right. Well, we always have somebody down on the ground if we're up there. So, and the people that are supporting us in this are also all hams. So it shouldn't be too difficult to talk somebody into doing it.
Carl had something to say.
The one got you with the TP link, and it's a great device. If you plug into it and don't have a managed switch or something to connect with it, you're only going to have a LAN connection. You can't connect it to a WAN. So like if you have WAN available there and want to feed it into your Arden system, you need a managed switch or another TP link, another Arden net, like a GLI net. AR 150 or 650, I think, are the models that are out there. Something that gives you a WAN capability. A managed switch, you need VPN with managed, what am I trying to say? A tagged
Virtual.
virtual network with a VPN ID of 2, network ID of 2, to be able to access, to input wide area network to the TP-Link. But without any of that, you can still draw from it and have local area network. So you can connect to your TP-Link, you can see the Arden Mesh and all of that. I hope that made some sense.
It does, and I would think that if I were to, I would think the first thing to do is get the thing up there and connect it to some other node, and go from there. And
Right.
then once it's up there, and yeah, we actually do have managed switches down in that transmitter building.
Okay.
So that would connect us in, and actually we did recently, a couple of weeks ago, we had some workers up on a cell phone tower putting in more ubiquity radios for us, but it's a little too late for that since we only do that once every few years. But
Yeah. The only other gotcha with all of Arden is what we're using is 2.4 gig, and it's a lot of what you're talking about, the ubiquity stuff you're putting out for Wi-Fi or WISP and stuff like that, could very well be in the same 2.4 gig neighborhood. So that's where the filters they put on Beacon really made a difference, is because there's a WISP up there, and they were just clobbering all of what they were trying to do, and the filter allowed them to get a narrow enough isolation of that frequency to make it usable.
where was the filter installed?
Between well, with the TP-Link, you couldn't do it, but we're using the rockets that have external antenna connectors on them, feeding to an antennas. It's diversity, so you have vertical and horizontal polarity, and we just put a filter on each one of those ports.
Okay.
On the
Well,
antenna port.
we've used most of our radios that we have up on there are rockets, but they're 5 gigahertz.
Okay,
Rockets.
It looks the same.
Yeah.
that shouldn't interfere as bad.
Yeah. And we do have one, we have one Omni that we're using right now that's up on a cell phone tower. Oh, is this an example of the?
Those are the
looks like
filters.
those are the filters. Okay, great.
And there's
Oh,
Doug
and I
Kingston,
see.
who's
Okay.
currently in New Orleans.
Okay.
This is the,
That particular radio is a microtick, by the way, so that's why the antenna looks a little offset from what a rocket looks like.
Oh, and is that a rocket? I mean, a Ubiquity Omni antenna that they're playing with?
I'm not sure who makes the antenna, and it's a special box that I think Randy acquired to fill everything into.
Oh, to put the filters in.
Yeah, and with the antenna is mounted directly on the top of the metal box.
yeah, he didn't say what he's attaching it to.
Yeah, he came up with a special enclosure that he bought that fit the microtick radio and the 2 filters all internally, with the antenna mounted right on the top of it.
And this is right here is the, I believe where he's doing the install right here. And this represents the connections he made.
No, that's the EOC, I believe, that you were.
Oh, the POC. Okay, never mind.
If you look at the green line from the north of
that's
the
it.
Admiral District over, that's Beacon. Yeah, that's it. Right
Yeah, there it's right here. Okay, so he got to the Admiral.
Yep.
Right here. But from the Admiral, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's Brookdale, and it's not
Or
hitting
Brookdale.
anybody else. But we're seeing Beacon at Mount St. Vincent now. So
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that here too. I can, I've got line of sight with the place, and before the filters, I could actually see some signal coming in, but it wasn't strong enough to affect a connection. Like I said, it was just a little too cold to try to do it here recently, but it's on the list things to do.
Well, guys, it's 8:39. We went a little bit over the hour period, but well worth it, I thought. If you did not put your name and email address in the chat, and you want to receive messages from me, please do that. And we'll, I guess we can wrap it up in case there's a final thought here. Okie dokie. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for the new guys coming in. We'll try to keep you in the loop. Thank you.
And thanks for the invitation. Appreciate it.
You bet. Okay, everybody. I'll wait for you guys to sign off and, oh, Carl?
No, I'm just waving goodbye.
Just waving. Okay. Bye, Carl. Bye, everybody.
All right. Hey, thanks, John, for sitting in for Ron tonight. Great job.
Thank you. See you, Jim.
See you later.